What if I told you that a 19th century philosopher had already cracked the code to reading people's minds? Friedrich Nietzsche didn't just challenge God and morality. He developed psychological insights so sharp they could slice through anyone's facade. Today, we're diving into 16 Nietzschean tricks that will help you see what others are desperately trying to hide. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a psychological toolkit that most people will never possess. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're building a community of sharp minds here, and you don't want to miss our weekly deep dives into psychology and philosophy. Now let's talk about Friedrich Nietzsche. This wasn't just some guy with a mustache spouting random thoughts. He was a psychological detective, dissecting human nature with surgical precision. His insights into human behavior were so advanced that modern psychology is still catching up to his observations from over 150 years ago. Trick 1. Nietzsche once said, "Every profound spirit needs a mask." This is your first weapon in reading people. Everyone wears masks. The question isn't whether someone is being authentic. It's figuring out which mask they're wearing and why. Look for inconsistencies between what people say and how they say it. Watch for moments when the mask slips. These micro-expressions reveal the true person underneath. The loudest person in the room. Often the most insecure. The one who constantly talks about their achievements. Usually desperate for validation. Nietzsche understood that our greatest strengths often mask our deepest weaknesses. A trick 2. This is pure Nietzschean genius. Resentment isn't just resentment. It's a toxic brew of envy, hatred, and powerlessness that people try to disguise as moral superiority. Here's how to spot it. Listen for people who constantly criticize others' success. They'll frame it as moral concern, but it's really jealousy in disguise. They say things like, "Money doesn't buy happiness," or "Successful people are usually unhappy." These are red flags of resentment. People consumed by resentment can't celebrate others' victories. They need to tear down what they can't achieve. Once you recognize this pattern, you'll see it everywhere. And you'll understand why some people seem so bitter about life. Trick 3. Nietzsche believed every human action stems from the will to power. Not power over others necessarily, but power over oneself and one's circumstances. Watch how people handle small amounts of power. The waiter who's rude to customers but submissive to managers. Classic displaced will to power. Notice who seeks responsibility and who avoids it. Those who embrace challenges are expressing healthy will to power. Those who constantly make excuses are suppressing theirs. The person who needs to control every conversation. They're compensating for feeling powerless elsewhere. Understanding someone's relationship with power tells you everything about their character. Trick 4. Nietzsche wrote, "I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you." People reveal themselves through their relationship with truth. Watch for these patterns. The chronic exaggerator who makes every story bigger than it was. They're insecure about their actual experiences. The person who lies about small, meaningless things. If they'll lie about what they had for lunch, they'll lie about everything. But here's the kicker. Also watch for radical truth-tellers. People who are brutally honest about everything might be using truth as a weapon to hurt others. Healthy people know when to speak truth and when to show mercy. Trick 5. Nietzsche despised herd mentality. He could spot followers from a mile away, and so can you. Listen for phrases like "everyone thinks" or "nobody does that anymore." These people outsource their thinking to the crowd. Watch their opinions change based on who's in the room. Herd animals adopt the beliefs of whatever group they're trying to impress. They're terrified of standing out or being wrong, so they hide in the safety of popular opinion. But here's what's interesting. Sometimes the loudest rebels are just following a different herd. True independence is rare. Look for people who have consistent principles regardless of social pressure. These are the ones worth knowing. Trick 6. What does not kill me makes me stronger. isn't just a motivational quote. It's a psychological insight. People's relationship with suffering reveals their character. Some people are broken by minor setbacks. Others are forged by major tragedies. Watch how people tell their stories of hardship. Do they position themselves as victims or survivors? Do they blame others or take responsibility? The person who's been through real struggle but doesn't constantly talk about it, that's strength. The person who dramatizes every minor inconvenience, that's weakness disguised as sensitivity. Nietzsche understood that how we handle suffering defines who we become. Trick 7. This one's crucial in our current age. Nietzsche warned about people who use morality as a weapon for control. Watch for virtue signaling. People who constantly advertise their moral positions are often compensating for something. Listen for moral language used to shut down discussion rather than explore truth. Phrases like "that's problematic," or "you can't say that without explanation." True moral people don't need to constantly announce their virtue. Their actions speak louder than their proclamations. Be especially wary of those who claim moral authority but show no mercy for human weakness. They're using righteousness to hide their own shadow. Trick 8. Nietzsche's concept of self-overcoming is powerful for reading people. Look for those who are genuinely trying to improve themselves versus those who just talk about it. Real self-improvers admit their flaws without wallowing in them. They take action more than they take credit. Fake self-improvers collect courses, books, and certifications but never actually change. They're addicted to the feeling of growth without the work of growing. Watch for people who can laugh at their past selves. That's a sign of genuine evolution. The person who defends their old mistakes or refuses to acknowledge growth, they're stuck. Trick 9. Envy is the most hidden emotion, but Nietzsche gave us the keys to decrypt it. People rarely admit to envy directly. Instead, they disguise it as concern, criticism, or moral judgment. "I'm worried about how materialistic society has become," says the person who can't afford the lifestyle they're criticizing. "Success changes people," says the person whose friends have outgrown them. Watch for disproportionate negative reactions to others' good fortune. The person who can't simply say congratulations without adding a "but" is revealing their envy. True secure people can celebrate others without feeling diminished. Trick 10. Become who you are, Nietzsche urged. This helps you spot the difference between authentic and performed personalities. Authentic people have consistent energy across different settings. They don't dramatically change based on their audience. Performers exhaust themselves maintaining different personas. They're on in public but depleted in private. Look for people whose private conversations match their public presentations. These are rare and valuable individuals. Watch for unconscious habits and mannerisms. These reveal more than carefully chosen words. The person who's the same person with the janitor as they are with the CEO. That's authenticity. Trick 11. Nietzsche valued creative force above almost everything. You can read people by understanding their relationship with creativity and originality. Some people are consumers who only take in others' ideas. They're always quoting, never creating. Others are imitators who copy but can't originate. They follow trends but never set them. Then there are the creators who generate new ideas and approaches. These people have an inner drive that doesn't depend on external validation. Watch how people respond to new ideas. Do they immediately judge or do they explore? Do they ask why? Why not? The most interesting people are those who see possibilities where others see problems. Trick 12. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. People's relationship with responsibility reveals everything about their character. Some people take responsibility for things beyond their control, while avoiding responsibility for things within their control. Others blame external circumstances for internal choices. "I had to" is usually code for "I chose to, but don't want to own it." Watch for people who acknowledge their role in both their successes and failures. These are the ones who actually have power over their lives. The victim mentality is seductive because it removes the burden of action, but it also removes the possibility of change. Trick 13. Nietzsche understood that growth requires discomfort. You can read people by seeing which they prioritize. Comfort seekers avoid challenge, change, and anything that might disturb their current state. They make decisions based on what's easy, not what's right. Growth seekers embrace discomfort as a sign they're moving in the right direction. They make decisions based on who they want to become, not who they currently are. Listen to how people talk about challenges. Do they see obstacles or opportunities? Do they focus on what they might lose or what they might gain? The person who says, "I could never do that," has already decided to stay small. The person who says, "How could I do that?" is already growing. 14. The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. True independence is rare and valuable. Most people think they're independent when they're actually just following a different crowd. Independent thinkers ask questions when everyone else assumes answers. They're comfortable with uncertainty and complexity. Dependent thinkers need constant validation and clear rules. They're uncomfortable with ambiguity and personal responsibility. Watch how people handle disagreement. Independent people can engage with opposing views without feeling threatened. Dependent people see disagreement as attack. The truly independent person doesn't need to rebel against everything or conform to everything. They choose their own path based on their own values. Trick 15. Nietzsche distinguished between strength and power, and this distinction is crucial for reading people. Power is external. It's control over others, circumstances, or resources. It can be taken away. Strength is internal. It's control over yourself, your reactions, and your choices. No one can take this from you. Weak people seek power over others because they have no power over themselves. They need external validation because they have no internal worth. Strong people may or may not have external power, but they don't need it to feel valuable. They validate themselves through their own standards. Watch for people who remain calm in chaos, who keep their principles under pressure, who don't need to win every argument to feel worthy. Trick 16. The final and most important trick. Nietzsche believed in saying yes to life, even with all its suffering and uncertainty. Life-affirming people have an energy that's unmistakable. They're not necessarily always happy, but they're engaged with existence. Life-denying people are constantly complaining, comparing, and wishing things were different. They're spectators of their own lives. Look for people who take action despite uncertainty, who find meaning in struggle, who can appreciate beauty even in difficult circumstances. These are the people who make life worth living. They're the ones you want on your team, in your corner, and in your life. The person who can say yes to their entire life story, mistakes and all, has achieved something most people never will. There you have it. 16 psychological insights from one of history's sharpest minds. But here's the thing about reading people. The goal isn't to manipulate or judge, it's to understand. And understanding others starts with understanding yourself. Nietzsche's greatest insight wasn't about other people, was about becoming who you're meant to be. Use these tools not just to read others, but to examine yourself. Are you wearing masks? Are you driven by resentment? Are you choosing growth or comfort? The most powerful people aren't those who can read everyone else. They're those who know themselves so well that they can't be read wrongly. If this video helped you see people more clearly, smash that like button and subscribe for more psychological insights. Drop a comment below. Which of these 16 tricks resonated most with you? Have you noticed any of these patterns in the people around you? And remember, with great psychological power comes great responsibility. Use these insights to build better relationships and create a better world. Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep becoming who you're meant to be. The philosopher who declared God is dead left us something far more valuable than certainty. He left us the tools to create our own meaning and see through the facades that keep us from real connection. Now go forth and see clearly.